our rules book, Mr. President, and with your permission, I would like to read what 42 says. 42 is a matter of urgent public importance, and the order says the matter for discussion shall, if possible, be referred to the President of the Senate before commencement of the day's sitting, and the President of the Senate shall refuse to allow the claim unless he is satisfied that the matter is definite and urgent. And then 52 says, Mr. President, that notice shall not be dispensed with in the case of a motion or in respect of any other proceeding for which notice is required, except with the consent of the President of the Senate and the general assent of the senators put together. Mr. President, you remember yesterday I approached you about a matter of urgent public importance, and that is the one I intend to raise on the issue of streamlining the export and import of goods through our airports, which is urgent and compelling, Mr. President. With your permission, I'd like to move.
Yeah, not only my permission, but the permission of the at least 1/5 of senators here. Distinguished colleagues.
Weekend and early this week, you will have been availed of the situation that we are in this country regarding the exports of our goods, more especially agricultural and other finished goods outside this country through our airports. Now, because of the multiple charges that we have, the situation has become so bad that aircrafts now no more take any cargo from this country. And I think that is very, very important that we address it as quickly as possible, more so now that the need for this country to have inflow of foreign currency is very, very important. And that is the reason why I felt that the Senate has to intervene as quickly as possible. Thank you, Mr. President.
The issue our colleague wants us to allow him present before the Senate, having come under our standing orders 42 and 52, which requires that he gets the endorsement of at least 1/5. Those in favor of his request that he presents his motion now, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Bala Ibn Allah.
Thank you very much, Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues. The motion is on the need to streamline import and export of cargo processing in the aviation sector. The Senate notes the disturbing trend of multiple charges and delay in processing of cargo, both import and export in Nigeria. Aware of the negative effect it has so far inflicted on our economy and the country at large, note with dismay the loss of about 250 billion as an estimate on agro-export of produce in the country, which stand as at today in the ratio of 87.13% by way of imbalance. Aware that there are about 16 sundry charges for goods coming in or out of the country, with 16 charges in Lagos and 15 in Abuja, which many of them are unofficial and illegal. Further notes that the loading of 100 tons of cargo on aircraft in Nigeria costs about $35,000, while in Ghana it's just about $4,000. Aware that this has caused substantial damage to the federal government efforts of stimulating capital inflow in the country, and aware that airlines involved in cargo transport have started avoiding Nigeria in view of the prohibitive charges, the Senate will resolve to mandate the Joint Committee on Trade and Investment and Aviation and Custom to invite stakeholders and freight agents to come with acceptable template for import and export of goods through our airport. This is the motion, Mr. President.
So, what is the prayer?
The prayer is to mandate the Joint Committee on Trade and Investment and Aviation and Custom to invite stakeholders and freight agents to come with acceptable template of processing of our import and export through our airport, sir. I will write the prayer immediately, sir, and send it to you, sir. But I think the prayer is clear enough. Oh, and agriculture, sir.
Senator Balanala, please let me have the prayer so that it can be amended or whatever it is. Distinguished colleagues, before the prayer, we have listened to the submission. Is there anybody who wants to contribute to this? Yes, Senator Aliyu Sabi.
I'm Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi. I represent Niger North. Mr. President, permit me to thank our distinguished brother for bringing this very important issue that I would say has remained evasive. Evasive in the sense that over the past years, the trend has been growing. Almost every agency that has one role or the other wanting to be prominently put on the value chain of our export business. And I think that is why we are having this multitude and duplication of taxations and charges that exporters have to go through. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, there is a global standard. And I think until we go back to what other countries are doing to be competitive, we cannot get our producers who are ready to export to be competitive. For example, he is making reference to agricultural produce. Many of these agricultural produce, all you need is to have a central clearing process, where if it is in terms of the standard specification, if it's in terms of residue allowance or other things, somebody just gets a one-stop shop for all of this. But today, everybody is tearing his own component and creating his own silo of authority, requiring that an exporter has to go through all these pockets of areas he has mentioned. That is not good for ease of doing business. And of course, it means Nigerian exporters are not competitive in comparison with other countries. And of course, you are dealing with a global economy. That is one. Two, most of the times when they export, they end up getting discounted price because it's not competitive. And in many instances, there are sharp practices where even the allowable residues are not even followed. And I give a classical example, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. The issue of mycotoxins, for example. The European Union over time has said the allowable unit of mycotoxins in our products is way, way, way above their own standards. So these are examples of issues that has led to these problems. And I think it is good. We are looking at this, and we should take it very serious if we want to put Nigeria's diversification effort on a very solid platform. I so submit.
Good friend, on the motion he brought to the chamber. This is very fundamental because if you look at the situation now, our economic team, to be candid, is not doing well. They are failing in all respects. Because if you look at the situation, the stakeholders are supposed to meet with the economic team and then decide on what to do. Because this is actually affecting even the free fall of the Naira now. The situation is going to be so bad in future that we are going to have 1,000 Naira to a dollar if we don't be careful, because the way the situation is going on. The whole issue should be boiled on services, that is protection and services. And if we are not producing anything, then we are going to be in trouble. What is happening now is that it's going to be very difficult to import and also very difficult to produce locally because of the inflationary nature of the whole situation in this country. So I think that is need we look at this, and I therefore support this motion. Thank you very much.
Distinguished colleague, there's only one prayer. It's on trade and investment, aviation, and customs to invite stakeholders and flight agents to come with acceptable template of processing our imports and exports of goods through the airports. Senator Abdullahi.